For hundreds of years, Zen Buddhism has pointed toward inner stillness, not through complex rituals or strict discipline, but by learning to rest with what already is, instead of fighting what might happen. Tonight, we explore these deep teachings through stories and reflections that have led countless people toward peace. Before we begin, you're welcome to share the time and place where you're listening from. The wisdom you'll hear tonight is not hard to grasp. These are truths about being human, speaking directly to something you already recognize deep within yourself. Each teaching and story gently reminds you of a peace that has always been here, quietly waiting beneath busy thoughts. Allow this ancient wisdom to move through you like soft rain, dissolving what needs to dissolve and settling where it belongs. Let your body sink more fully into what is supporting you. There is nowhere else you need to be. Relax, take one slow, deep breath, and begin this journey together. One of Zen's most liberating insights is knowing when to stop interfering. We spend enormous energy trying to force life into the shape we believe it should take. We push and pull, trying to make reality cooperate with our plans. We cling to ideas of how things must unfold, and when life doesn't match those ideas, we suffer. Zen teaching offers another way. Sometimes, the wisest response is no action at all. Often, our constant doing creates more knots than it unties. This does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It doesn't mean we stop caring or never act. It means learning to notice when our interference causes more harm than help. It means understanding the difference between meaningful effort and pointless struggle. It is knowing when to act and when to allow. Imagine a river flowing around stones. The water does not fight the obstacles. It does not attempt to move them or complain they exist. It never says, "This rock should not be here." It simply flows around them, choosing the easiest path. Over time, the gentle current shapes even the hardest stone, not through force, but through patient allowing. Zen Buddhism calls this Wu Wei, effortless action. Action that emerges naturally from the moment, instead of being pushed by willpower. It is not laziness. It is not inaction. It is doing exactly what is needed without adding unnecessary strain. Like bamboo bending in a storm rather than snapping, it is the skilled craftsman whose hands move without conscious thought. The cook who knows when to stir and when to let the pot rest. It is the moment when everything flows and nothing feels like resistance. This is what Zen points toward. Long ago, there was a master named Sangai who lived in a hillside monastery. The monastery was surrounded by bamboo groves that swayed and whispered with every breeze. Their sound was constant, a soft murmur filling the grounds. Sangai had a student named Tenshin who came to study under him. Tenshin was sincere and devoted, yet he approached every practice with extreme effort and intensity. When he meditated, his spine was stiff like stone. His shoulders stayed tight, his jaw clenched. He sat with a strained expression, forcing concentration, trying to command his mind into stillness. After meditation, other students rose easily and moved on. Tenshin stood slowly, visibly drained by the effort of simply sitting. He treated meditation as a battle he had to conquer. One autumn afternoon, the weather shifted suddenly. Dark clouds rolled in from the east. The wind began softly, then grew stronger. By evening, a full storm had arrived. Rain struck the monastery walls while the wind screamed through the roof beams. Tenshin was in his small room when a loud creaking and cracking sound broke through the storm. He rushed to the window and stared into the chaos outside. His heart dropped. The bamboo grove was being torn by the wind. Tall stalks bent so far he could see their tops touching the earth. They lashed back and forth with frightening force. He was sure they would snap. Tenshin ran through the monastery corridors, searching for Master Sangai. He found him in the meditation hall, sitting calmly while the storm roared outside. "Master," Tenshin gasped. "The wind is tearing apart the bamboo grove. The stalks are bending to the ground. We must act. Should we brace them? Should we tie them together?" Sangai rose slowly and walked toward the large window facing the hillside. He stood silently, watching the storm. Tenshin remained beside him, tense and restless. "What do you see?" Sangai finally asked. "I see destruction," Tenshin replied. "The wind is far too strong. They're bending so far they'll surely break." "Look more closely," Sangai said softly, his voice nearly lost in the storm. Tenshin looked again. The bamboo bent deeply with each fierce gust. Their tops swept low, almost touching the earth. The grove moved like ocean waves, green stalks flowing with the wind's power. It appeared violent. It appeared destructive. Yet as he watched longer, he noticed something else. After each gust passed, the bamboo rose upright again. Over and over, they bent deeply and returned. They moved with the wind instead of opposing it. His gaze shifted toward the pine trees growing among the bamboo. The pines stood stiff against the wind. They did not bend like the bamboo. Suddenly, he heard a sharp crack. A heavy branch snapped from one pine and crashed down. Another pine began splitting along its trunk. The bamboo, despite its dramatic movement, remained untouched. Not a single stalk had broken. "The bamboo knows how to survive the storm," Sangai said quietly. "It does not fight the wind or try to stand rigid against something stronger. It moves with the wind, bends with it, allows it to pass, and then returns to its natural form." Tenshin stood silently, watching the bamboo dance within the storm. "The pine trees are strong," Sangai continued, "but their strength is rigid. They resist with force, and so they break. The bamboo is flexible. It holds a different strength, the strength of yielding." They remained there together until the storm began to fade. As the wind softened, the bamboo's motion became gentle. Soon, they were swaying quietly, as they always had. Not one stalk was damaged. That night, Tenshin could not sleep. His thoughts returned again and again to the bamboo and the pines. He reflected on his meditation practice, how rigid he sat, how much force he used, and how exhausted he felt, as if he had been fighting a war. The next morning, during meditation, he tried a new approach. Instead of holding himself stiff, he let his body settle naturally. Instead of forcing attention onto his breath, he allowed it to move freely, like bamboo in the wind. When thoughts appeared, he did not battle them. He let them pass through. He expected this gentler method to weaken his meditation. Instead, something unexpected occurred. Without rigid effort, his body relaxed on its own. His breathing found a steady rhythm. His mind, no longer pushed toward stillness, gradually quieted. He saw that much of his suffering had been self-created. The harder he tried to force calm, the more tension arose. The more he fought his thoughts, the more chaotic they became. He had been like a pine tree, standing stiff against the wind of his own mind. After meditation ended, he found Master Sangai in the garden. "Master," he said, "I think I finally understand. My rigid effort was like standing stiff against the wind. I created the struggle I wanted to escape." Sangai smiled. "And what did you discover this morning? That when I stopped forcing, everything settled naturally, like bamboo returning upright after the wind passes." "Yes," Sangai said. "This is what Zen Buddhism teaches. We often believe we must control everything through force. Yet our interference frequently creates more turmoil than the problem itself. Learning when to bend, when to allow, when to let things be, this is wisdom." This teaching runs deep in Zen Buddhism, shaping how we meditate, how we work, how we meet hardship, and how we finally rest at night. Much of our suffering is self-made because we refuse to accept what is. Something happens we dislike, and instead of acknowledging it and working with it, we spend our energy resisting reality. We argue with what has already occurred. We insist things should be different, creating an inner war with circumstances we cannot change. A traveler arrives at a stream and discovers the bridge has been washed away. He can stand on the bank, angry that the bridge is gone. He can curse the storm that destroyed it. He can insist there should still be a bridge and waste hours raging at the unfairness of it all. Or he can accept there is no bridge and look for another way across. One response creates suffering, the other creates solutions. The bridge is gone either way. His anger does not rebuild it, his demands do not alter reality, but acceptance allows him to see what is actually possible. This is what Zen Buddhism helps reveal. We squander enormous energy fighting reality. This struggle never changes what has already happened. It only adds suffering to the moment. In a small village at the foot of a mountain, lived a tea master named Rikyu. He was known throughout the region not only for his skill, but for his extraordinary calm. Nothing seemed to disturb him. Students traveled great distances to learn his secret. Rikyu lived in a modest home with a tea room built in traditional style, small, spare, with clean lines and careful attention to detail. The tatami mats were perfectly woven, and each tea bowl had been chosen with deep care. The scroll in the alcove changed with the seasons. Years had gone into refining his practice. Every movement in the ceremony held meaning: the folding of the cloth, the angle of the scoop, the sound of water poured. Nothing was accidental. Everything moved with intention. One late spring afternoon, Rikyu prepared for an important ceremony. The local lord was coming to take tea, along with several honored guests. It was a great distinction. Rikyu had prepared for days. He rose before dawn, cleaning the tea room until every surface shone. He arranged flowers in the alcove, choosing a single plum branch that expressed simplicity and quiet grace. He selected the ideal tea bowl for the season, its glaze recalling soft spring rain. He placed each utensil precisely: the bamboo scoop, the silk cloth, the iron kettle. Every item rested in its proper place. He heated the water to the exact temperature, listening carefully as it neared perfection. Tea masters called that sound "wind in the pines," and Rikyu knew when it was just right. His students assisted with final preparations. They swept the garden path and arranged the waiting area. Everything was ready. The ceremony would begin at the hour of the horse, when the sun stood high. Rikyu stood once more in the tea room before the guests arrived, ensuring all was in harmony. Years of practice, decades of refinement. This gathering would unfold with the grace that made his ceremonies renowned. Then he heard running footsteps, quick, frantic steps across the wooden floor outside. One of his youngest students, a boy named Jiro, burst into the tea room carrying a bucket of fresh water from the well. This water was needed to rinse the tea bowls, but Jiro moved too fast, not watching his step. His foot caught on the threshold. Time seemed to slow. Rikyu watched as the boy stumbled forward. The bucket tilted, and water surged out in a wide splash, flooding the pristine tatami mats. The students gasped. Jiro dropped to his knees, desperately trying to scoop the water back with his hands, but it spread quickly, soaking the woven mats and pooling along the room's edges. The lower edge of the hanging scroll was wet. Several carefully placed utensils had been knocked aside by the spill. The students stood frozen, waiting for Rikyu's anger. Hours of preparation, ruined in seconds. The ceremony would have to be postponed. The mats would need days to dry properly. The Lord and his guests were already on their way. There was no time to repair the damage. Everything seemed lost. Rikyu gently set down the tea bowl in his hands and studied the spreading water. His face showed no irritation or distress. "Well," he said softly, calm and steady. "These mats needed cleaning soon anyway. They were growing old." He rolled up his sleeves and knelt on the floor, carefully lifting the wet mats and shifting them so they could be carried outside to dry. The students remained unsure, standing still. "Don't just stand there," Rikyu said kindly. "Help me move these." And someone meet the Lord's party on the path. Explain that the ceremony must be postponed. Be respectful. Apologize for the inconvenience. The students moved at once, guided by his calm clarity. Within minutes, the wet mats were laid outside in the sun. Fresh mats were brought from storage. Rikyu was already arranging a simpler ceremony to be held in another room. Jiro stayed kneeling where he had fallen, tears pouring down his face. "Master, I'm so sorry. I ruined everything. Please forgive me." Rikyu sat beside him. "You spilled water," he said gently. "Water spills. Accidents happen. This is part of life. The work was not ruined," he continued. The situation simply changed. Becoming upset would not dry the mats or restore the ceremony. It would only add suffering to what already happened. The water spilled, that is the truth. Arguing with what has already occurred is like arguing with rain that has already fallen. Later that evening, after the Lord was informed and new plans made, a senior student approached Rikyu. "Master, may I ask, were you not upset? Even a little? All your preparation undone in a moment?" Rikyu smiled. Feelings arose, he said. Disappointment appeared. I felt it in my body, a heaviness. That is natural. But I did not feed it. I did not create a story about unfairness or how it should not have happened. I felt the feeling, and then I addressed the situation. "But how do you avoid building the story?" the student asked. "Through practice," Rikyu replied, "and understanding. This is what Zen Buddhism teaches. We cannot control everything that happens, but we can choose whether to struggle with it." The water had already spilled. No anger could unspill it. So why add anger to the moment? Why turn one problem into two? The student nodded slowly. "So you simply accept whatever happens?" "I accept what has already happened," Rikyu clarified. "I don't fight the past. From acceptance, I can respond wisely to what must be done now." "That acceptance isn't giving up," he said. "It's seeing clearly, without the distortion created by resistance." He paused, gazing toward the garden where the damp mats dried in the late sun. And today, Jiro learned something about attention and care that no amount of instruction could have taught him. I was also reminded that perfection is an illusion. Often, the most beautiful ceremonies arise when plans collapse, and we respond with presence instead of preparation. Accepting what is doesn't mean refusing to act. It doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means acting from clarity, not from resistance. When we accept a situation as it is, without the stories of how it should be, we can see what truly needs to happen. When we're busy fighting reality, struggle blinds us to solutions. Acceptance is not resignation. Resignation collapses into defeat, surrendering under the weight of circumstances. Acceptance is clear seeing, free from wishing things were different. From acceptance, skillful action becomes possible. From resistance, suffering multiplies. There once lived a monk named Hakuin in a small temple beside a farming village. The temple was humble. A few simple buildings surrounded by vegetable gardens. Hakuin was known across the region for his quiet presence. He moved through life without strain, meeting everything with steady attention. Villagers often came to him with their troubles, not because he offered clever answers, but because his presence helped them see their own situations more clearly. One summer morning, a farmer named Ichiro arrived at the temple gate. He was middle-aged, shaped by long years of labor under the sun. Worry lined his face. Tension tightened his shoulders. Hakuin was in the garden, slowly pulling weeds from the radish beds when the farmer approached. Hakuin looked up. "Master Hakuin," Ichiro said, his voice strained. "A terrible thing has happened. My ox has died." Hakuin set down the weeds, brushed the soil from his hands, and stood. "I'm sorry to hear that," he replied simply. "You don't understand," Ichiro said, words tumbling out. "I need that ox to plow my fields. Without it, I can't prepare the soil. Without planting, there will be no rice. Without rice, my family will starve this winter. My children will go hungry. My wife is already frightened. What am I supposed to do?" His voice climbed higher with each sentence. Panic trembled in his words, his hands shaking. Hakuin listened quietly. When Ichiro finished, silence followed. A bird called from the trees. Wind passed through the garden. "Your ox has died," Hakuin said softly. "Yes, that's what I'm saying, it's a disaster." "Your ox has died," Hakuin repeated, unchanged. "That is what happened." Ichiro looked baffled and irritated. "But what should I do?" "What can you do?" The question lingered. Ichiro opened his mouth, then stopped. He stood rigid, frustration tightening his face. "I don't understand," he said. "I come for help, and you only repeat my problem. I'm not repeating your problem, Hakuin replied gently. I'm helping you see what your problem truly is. My problem is that my ox died. No, Hakuin said. Your ox dying is a fact. Your problem is everything you're adding to that fact. He gestured to a bench nearby. Sit with me for a moment. Reluctantly, Ichiro sat. Hakuin sat beside him. Tell me, Hakuin asked, has your family already starved? No. Are your children hungry right now? No. Is the planting season finished? Not yet. So in this moment, what is actually true? Ichiro paused. My ox has died. Yes. And what else? I need to plow my fields. Yes. What else? Ichiro reflected. My family is fine right now. The season hasn't passed. I still have time. Good, Hakuin said. When you remove the stories of disaster and imagined futures, what are you truly facing? I need a way to plow without my ox. Exactly, Hakuin replied. That's your real situation, not an ending, not a catastrophe, just a condition, asking for response. They sat quietly. Ichiro's breath slowed, his shoulders eased. I could borrow an ox from my neighbor, he said. Teishi has two. He might lend me one for the season. I was one. Or I could hire someone with tools to help. It would cost money. But I have savings. He thought again. I could plant crops that don't need deep plowing. Millet requires less turning than rice. The harvest would be smaller, but enough. Hakuin nodded. There, he said softly. When you stop fighting the fact of the ox's death, you see what's possible. Ichiro sat quietly, taking this in. I was trapped in the disaster I imagined, unable to think clearly. Yes, Hakuin said. Your mind was full of, this shouldn't have happened, and why me? That is resistance fighting what is. And while fighting, clarity disappears. So I should accept that my ox died? You have no choice about that, Hakuin said. It already happened. The real question is whether you accept the fact and work with it, or exhaust yourself resisting a reality you cannot change. Ichiro nodded slowly. It still feels wrong somehow, like I should be more upset. You can feel upset, Hakuin said. Sadness over loss is natural. But there's a difference between feeling sorrow and building a disaster story around it. You can feel what you feel and still see clearly what needs to be done. The farmer stood up. His face had changed, still concerned, but no longer frantic. Worried, yet not overwhelmed. Thank you, Master Hakuin, he said. I understand now. I was worsening the situation by fighting it. After Ichiro left, a student who had listened nearby approached. Master, that seemed so simple, yet it changed everything for him. What did you actually do? The student asked. I helped him stop adding suffering to his problem, Hakuin replied. The ox dying was one thing. His stories of starvation and disaster were another. He created a catastrophe that wasn't real. Seeing what was actually true allowed skillful response. Is this what Zen Buddhism teaches? In part, Hakuin said, Zen shows how much suffering we create through resistance. Pain is unavoidable, oxen die, droughts come, illness appears. These are facts of life, but suffering, the mental anguish added on top, is optional. It comes from refusing what is. The student reflected, but isn't acceptance like giving up? Not at all, Hakuin answered. Acceptance begins skillful action. When you accept reality, you see clearly. When you fight it, possibilities disappear. Ichiro couldn't see options until he accepted the ox's death. Resistance blocked his clarity. Zen teaches that much suffering comes not from events, but from resisting them. Pain is inevitable, Hakuin continued. Loss occurs, things break, plans fail, bodies age. This is life's nature. But suffering, the extra layer of mental torment, arises from refusing to let things be as they are. You feel physical discomfort. That is pain. It's real. It's present. It's wild. Then thoughts appear. This shouldn't be happening. I can't handle this. When will it end? This is unbearable. Each thought adds tension and resistance. The pain remains, but now suffering is layered on top. Pain may not change, yet suffering is created moment by how we relate to the pain. This teaching matters most when we're trying to rest. We lie down wanting sleep, and sleep doesn't come. That's normal. What do? We can accept being awake and rest anyway, or we can fight it. Why am I still awake? I should be asleep by now. This is awful. I'll be exhausted tomorrow. I'll never fall asleep. Each thought tightens resistance. That tension makes sleep even harder. We create a loop where fighting wakefulness keeps us awake. Resisting the present blocks our movement into the next moment. There was a master named Daito who lived in the mountains. Students came to his small hermitage to study Zen. One evening, a young monk named Kenji approached him. Troubled. "Master," he said, "I'm struggling. My legs hurt in meditation. My mind races at night. When I try to be calm, I feel restless. I don't know what I'm doing wrong." Daito sat by a small fire, gently stirring the coals. "You're fighting," he said simply. "Fighting what?" "Fighting your legs when they hurt, your mind when it races, yourself when you feel restless. You're at war with your own experience." "But shouldn't I do something about these problems?" "The problems aren't the pain, the racing mind, or restlessness," Daito replied. "Those are experiences. The problem is the war you add on top of them. That fighting creates more tension than the original discomfort." Kenji frowned. "So I should ignore the pain and thoughts?" "Not ignore," Daito said. "Stop turning them into enemies to defeat. Your legs hurt, that's happening. Your mind is busy, that's happening. You feel restless, that's happening. These are conditions. They change by themselves. When you fight them, you lock them in place." "I don't understand." Daito smiled. "Tonight, try something different. Don't force sleep or calm. Let yourself be exactly as you are. If the mind is busy, let it be busy. If you're restless, allow restlessness. Stop insisting you should be different." That night, Kenji returned to his room, doubtful. The advice felt too simple. How could allowing things solve anything? Surely effort was needed. Still, he decided to try Daito's suggestion. He lay on his mat. Almost at once, his mind did what it always did. Thoughts of the day, worries, memories, planning, analysis, the stream he dreaded. His instinct was to push the thoughts away, to force quiet. Then, he remembered Daito's words. Let it be. He tried something new. He allowed the mind to be busy. He didn't follow thoughts or push them away. He let them pass like weather. Something unexpected began to happen. Without the usual struggle, the thoughts slowly settled on their own naturally, like mud sinking when water isn't stirred. Resistance had been feeding them. When he stopped fighting, they lost energy. He still didn't fall asleep immediately, yet the time he spent awake felt different. It was calm and gentle. He was resting even with open eyes because the inner struggle had ended. He stopped insisting the moment should be different. Without noticing when it happened, he slipped into sleep deep, nourishing rest. When morning came, he felt more renewed than he had in weeks. He later found Daito in the garden, caring for herbs along the path. "Master," he said, "something shifted last night. When I stopped fighting my experience, everything softened." Daito nodded. This is what Zen Buddhism points toward. We believe effort and control create peace, yet they often create struggle instead. Sometimes the strongest action is stopping, Daito continued. Stop interfering. Let things be. This is the wisdom of allowing, not passive or defeated, but clear enough to know when interference causes more harm than good. Clear enough to see that some things settle on their own when we stop stirring them. Tonight, as you rest, you can practice this same allowing. Your body already knows how to relax. You don't need to force it. Your breath has its own rhythm. You don't need to control it. Your mind settles when you stop demanding that it settle immediately. You don't have to fight your way to peace. You can let peace appear naturally when you stop creating conflict. Like bamboo bending and returning. Like the tea master meeting spilled water. Like the farmer seeing beyond catastrophe. You can meet this moment without resistance. Mested worked. This is what Zen Buddhism offers. Not a technique to master, but a release from unnecessary effort. Not a goal to reach, but a softening into what is already here. The peace you seek isn't waiting in the future after everything is fixed. It's available now, in this letting be. Release your grip on how things should be. Meet this moment as it is. Trust the same intelligence that grows your hair and heals your wounds. It knows how to guide you into rest. You don't need to manage every detail. You can surrender to a wisdom deeper than conscious control. The bamboo doesn't plan how to survive the storm it bends. The river doesn't calculate its path around rocks it flows. You too can move through this moment with that same ease, not by trying harder, but by trying less, not by forcing, but by allowing what naturally wants to happen. This is the practice of letting things be simple, profound. Available now, Zen Buddhism teaches a way of seeing, not merely with the eyes, but with clarity, free from opinions and judgments. Most of the time, we don't see what's before us. We see our thoughts about it. We see labels, categories, preferences, good or bad, right or wrong, pleasant or unpleasant. This filter distances us from direct experience, placing thought between us and reality. When you look at a tree, you rarely just see the tree. You see ideas and opinions about it, not the thing itself standing there. Your concepts interfere with seeing. Zen teaching points to another way seeing without constant commentary. Noticing what's here without instantly sorting it into categories. This doesn't mean abandoning knowledge or language. It means knowing the difference between the thing itself and the thoughts you have about it. A flower is simply a flower before you know its name, before deciding if you like it, before comparing it to others or judging where it belongs. First, there is the flower as it is. Then come all the additions. Zen invites us to see the flower before the additions, to meet reality directly before thought steps in. This kind of direct seeing changes everything. Life feels fresh, as if each moment is met anew. In a mountain monastery lived a teacher known for his simple, direct style. He avoided long talks and complex explanations. Most of the time, he simply pointed at things. A young student named Yuki came to study with him. Yuki was educated and sharp. He had read many Zen texts and could quote old masters. He understood the ideas. Yet the teacher sensed that this knowledge was blocking true seeing. One spring morning, he invited Yuki to walk in the garden. They walked quietly. The air was cool and clear. Dew clung to the grass. Birds called across the garden. The teacher stopped beside a plum tree, where a single branch bloomed, white flowers bright against dark bark. He pointed and asked, "What do you see?" Yuki looked closely. "I see plum blossoms," Yuki said confidently. "They're beautiful. They symbolize resilience, blooming in the cold. In poetry, they represent purity and renewal. They seem from an older variety, perhaps decades old. The petals look especially white this year, likely from recent rain. Eve we cap to do." The teacher listened, then asked again, more softly, "But what do you see?" Yuki was puzzled. "I just said plum blossoms. What else is there?" "Look again," the teacher said. This time, without words, without knowledge, without comparing or analyzing, just look. Yuki turned back to the flowers and tried, but it was harder than expected. Words kept appearing: white, plum, blossom, beautiful. His mind labeled everything instantly. Pushing words away only created more thinking. "Don't think words," he told himself. "Just look. Stop labeling." More thoughts about not thinking. He stood there a long time, frustrated. The teacher waited quietly beside him. Eventually, Yuki stopped trying. His eyes rested on the flowers without effort. For a brief moment, something shifted. No labels. Just shape, light, shadow, curved petals, sunlight on edges, dew trembling on the stamens. It lasted only seconds before thinking returned with names and meanings. Yet in that moment, he had seen directly not plum blossoms, but the thing itself without concepts. He turned to the teacher, eyes wide with wonder. "It was so immediate," he said. "For a moment, I saw, without seeing flowers. Does that make sense?" The teacher smiled. "Now you're beginning to understand what Zen points to. The flowers were always as they are. Your knowledge was blocking direct seeing. When thought quieted, clarity appeared." "But how do I see this way all the time?" Yuki asked. "You practice and notice how often you don't see things as they are. Most of the time, you're seeing thoughts about things. Recognizing this creates space for clearer seeing." Over the next weeks, Yuki practiced direct seeing. He looked at rocks, bowls, shadows. Noticing how commentary arose instantly, he learned to sense the difference between the thing itself and his mental narration. At first, it felt awkward. His mind labeled everything immediately. He'd see a bird, and sparrow appeared before he truly saw it. He tasted food, and judgments came before taste. Gradually, though, he noticed small gaps, brief pauses, where seeing came before thinking. Brief moments appeared when he saw, heard, or felt something before thought arrived. These moments felt vivid and alive, unlike his usual experience. It was like seeing color after years of gray. One morning, while sweeping the temple steps, he noticed the sound the bamboo broom made against the stone. Not sweeping sound or pleasant or rhythmic, just the sound itself, without labels. He stopped, astonished. He had swept these steps hundreds of times, but had never truly heard the sound before. He had heard thoughts about it, not the sound itself. The teacher passed by and saw him standing still, broom in hand, listening. "You've discovered something," the teacher said. It wasn't a question. "The sound," Yuki replied. "I've never really heard it before." The teacher nodded. Most people live their whole lives without truly seeing, hearing, or tasting. They experience their thoughts about things, not the things themselves. That's why life feels dull to many. They don't meet life directly, only their concepts of it. "Is this what Zen Buddhism calls awakening?" Yuki asked. "This direct seeing, it's the beginning," the teacher said. "When concepts fall away, everything is already alive, already vivid, already complete. You were searching for something special beyond what's here, but what's here, seen clearly, is extraordinary." This understanding changed his meditation as well. Before, he constantly thought about his practice. Am I doing it right? Is this the right feeling? My posture is wrong. I'm improving. He was always thinking about the experience instead of being present with it. Now he noticed those thoughts without getting trapped. He felt breathing without thinking, breathing. He heard sounds without thinking, bird or wind. Direct experience became accessible when labels fell away. Then something unexpected occurred. When he stopped judging meditation as good or bad, trying to match an idea of how it should be, his mind settled naturally. The constant evaluation had kept his mind restless. Sitting without judgment or labels, stillness arose on its own. This teaching of seeing without judgment lies deep within Zen Buddhism's view of suffering. We don't simply see things, we judge them immediately. Good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, wanted or unwanted. This judging creates separation, a feeling of being opposed to reality. When something pleasant appears, we cling to it, thinking, "This is good, I want more." When something unpleasant appears, we resist it, thinking, "This is bad, I don't want this." Neutral moments are barely noticed as we search for something else. This constant sorting generates tension and puts us in continual negotiation with life. We're always chasing what we call good and avoiding what we call bad. Rarely do we meet what's here without preference. In a small village lived an abbot named Tetsu, who oversaw a temple serving the local community. The temple welcomed anyone needing food or shelter. Travelers stopped there. Poor villagers came for rice. Families brought their troubles. One evening, a man appeared at the gate, thin, dirty, clothes torn, eyes tired and hard. He didn't bow or ask for help. He just stood there. The monks whispered, "That's Go on. He's a thief. He's been imprisoned twice. He steals from farmers. We should send him away." Tetsu heard the whispers and came to the gate himself. He looked at the man and didn't see a thief or criminal. He saw a thin man with weary eyes. "Are you hungry?" Tetsu asked. Gon looked startled by the direct question. "Yes," he said after a pause. "Then come in," Tetsu replied. "We're about to serve the evening meal." The monks were stunned. Later, after Gon had eaten and been given a place to sleep, a senior monk named Kosho approached Tetsu. "Master, do you know who that man is? He's a thief. He can't be trusted. Why did you let him stay?" "I saw a hungry man," Tetsu answered calmly. "But he's a criminal. Is he committing a crime right now?" "No." "Then in this moment, what is actually true?" Kosho considered. "He's hungry. He's exhausted. He looks like he hasn't eaten properly in days." "Yes," Tetsu said. "That's what I saw. A human being who needs food and rest. Everything else is a label we add. But those labels are true. He has stolen." "Perhaps," Tetsu replied. "But if I see only thief, I don't see the person before me. I see my judgment, and judgment blocks wise response." Gon remained at the temple for 3 days. On the first day, he barely spoke, eating quickly with his eyes lowered. He slept apart from others in the guest hall. The monks watched him closely. On the second day, Tetsu asked if he would help with chores around the temple. There was wood to cut and water to draw from the well. Gon hesitated, then agreed. He worked steadily, his movements practiced from years of labor. As the day passed, tension eased from his shoulders, and the weariness in his eyes softened. By the third day, he was sharing meals with the monks. He spoke little, but he was present. A younger monk, forgetting himself, told a humorous story about a confused rooster in the yard. Gon smiled a small smile, but it transformed his face. That evening, as the sun lowered, he went to find Tetsu, who was weeding the garden beds. "Why are you kind to me?" Gon asked, his rough voice hesitant. "Everyone else sees a criminal. They cross the road, hide their belongings, pull children close, but you just see a person." Tetsu set down the weeds and turned toward him. He studied Gon quietly. "I try to see what's actually here," he said, "not what I think about it. You're a human being. Humans need food, shelter, kindness. That's what I see." "I have stolen," Gon said softly. "The monks are right. I've taken from people and caused suffering. What you did before belongs to the past," Tetsu said. "It's finished. Right now, you're a man standing here, speaking honestly. That's what's real now." Gon fell silent. Somewhere in the dim garden, a cricket began to sing. "No one has ever looked at me without judgment," Gon said at last. "Even I see only thief. That's all I am." "Is that who you are right now?" Tetsu asked gently. "Are you stealing at this moment?" "No." "Are you harming anyone?" "No." "Then who are you right now?" Gon looked up, uncertain. "I don't know. When we remove the label thief and look beyond past actions," Tetsu said, "there is simply a person living, breathing, changing. This moment isn't the last one. You are not fixed as yesterday or last year, but I've done terrible things." "Perhaps," Tetsu replied. "Yet judgment separates us. It builds a wall. When I judge you, I can't truly see you, only my ideas about you. Zen Buddhism teaches us to look beyond judgment and meet what is actually present. I have tin certain belief. What's present right now," Tetsu said, "is a man asking questions, reflecting on his actions, capable of change." Tears filled Gon's eyes. "I don't know how to be anything other than what people say I am." "You don't have to be anything," Tetsu replied. "Just be here now, not carrying your past like a weight around your neck. You don't have to believe that what you did defines you. Just be here breathing, alive in this moment." The next morning, Gon left the temple. Something inside him had shifted. For once, someone had seen him without the label of thief, beyond his past, as he was right now. Years later, Gon returned to the temple. He had become a carpenter and had stopped stealing. He brought an offering to Tetsu. "You saw me when no one else could," he said. "You looked without judgment, and that seeing saved me." After Gon left, Kosho approached Tetsu. "Master, I judged too quickly. I saw a label, not a person. We all do this." "Yes," Tetsu said. "The mind quickly sorts good or bad, safe or dangerous, worthy or unworthy. But these labels are thoughts, not reality. When we see beyond them, even briefly, clarity appears." "Is this what Zen Buddhism means by clear seeing?" "Partly," Tetsu replied. "It's seeing what's here without judgment. A person is not their past actions. A moment isn't good or bad until we name it so. Things simply are. When we see this, our responses come from clarity instead of habit. This practice of seeing without judgment transforms how we meet every moment. Most of the time, we're so busy judging experience that we're not present to it. We analyze, compare, evaluate. We miss the raw presence of what's happening now. You sit down to rest, and immediately, the mind begins judging. This feels comfortable or uncomfortable. I like this or I don't. This is how rest should feel or shouldn't feel. All that judging places a layer between you and resting itself. What if you could rest without commentary, feeling what's here, without calling it good or bad? The experience becomes simpler, more direct, less tangled in thought. There was a farmer named Isamu, whose family had worked the same land for generations. His grandfather shaped the fields. His father planted the fruit trees. The land lived in his body, its seasons as familiar as breathing. He grew rice in low paddies fed by mountain streams. On higher ground, he planted vegetables, beans, radishes, greens. His life followed the seasons, planting in spring, tending in summer, harvesting in fall, resting in winter. Each season had its tasks and weather. One year, the spring rains failed. The rains should have begun in the 4th month, filling the paddies. But the skies stayed clear. Day after day of sun replaced the expected clouds, and the rice seedlings began to weaken. He had transplanted them expecting rain. Instead, water levels dropped as heat evaporated what little remained. Vegetables wilted by midday. Neighbors gathered to speak of drought. Worry etched on their faces. "This is a disaster," one farmer said. "If rain doesn't come, we'll lose everything." "The worst drought in 50 years, said another. "My father warned me about drought like this. All our work wasted," a third said. "The planting was for nothing." Isamu listened quietly. While others spoke of catastrophe, he returned to his fields and studied what could be done. The stream feeding his paddies still flowed. Though lower than usual, he could dig channels to guide more water into the fields. Digging under the sun was exhausting, but it could be done. For days, he carved new irrigation channels, deeper and straighter than before. He hauled buckets of water to vegetables the channels couldn't reach. From dawn until nightfall he worked, back aching, hands blistered and raw. Yet he didn't complain. He didn't call the drought terrible or awful. He didn't label it bad. It was simply drought what was happening. And he responded to what the situation required. Then, in midsummer, everything shifted. Dark clouds rolled in from the south. The first raindrops brought relief, then turned into a downpour, and the rain didn't stop. Day after day it poured, more falling in a week than usual in a month. The long dry paddies flooded. Water rose too high, threatening to uproot the young rice. The channels Isamu had dug became rushing streams, tearing at their banks. The river swelled, brown with mud, climbing toward its edges. Neighbors gathered again, worry deepening. "Too much rain," they said. "This is terrible. After drought, now floods. The gods are against us. First, too little water, now too much. It's a curse," abscessed. "Nothing goes right this year," another said. My fields are turning into lakes. The crops will rot. We'll lose everything. Isamu simply watched the rain fall hard and straight, drumming on the earth. He walked his land through thick mud, noticing where water pooled and where it needed release. During the rainy days, he raised the banks of his paddies to keep water contained. He dug drainage channels to guide excess water away. He labored in rain and mud, clothes soaked, feet cold. Still, he didn't complain. He didn't call the rain terrible or awful. He didn't judge it bad. It was just rain, heavy rain. And he answered what the moment demanded. When fall arrived and harvest time came, Isamu's yield was modest. Not his best, but enough. Drought and floods had taken their toll. Yet he had rice for his family and seed for the next season. His vegetables survived better than expected. Many neighbors lost most of their crops not because the weather differed, but because they spent their energy upset by it. Lost in judging how terrible things were, they couldn't see clearly what needed to be done. After harvest, a monk named Soyen from a nearby temple came to visit. He'd heard of the farmer who stayed calm through hardship, while others despaired. "How did you do it?" Soyen asked. They sat on Isamu's porch, looking over the fields. The harvest was complete. The land rested, rice stubble rising from the soil. "How did you avoid despair during drought? How did you stay calm during floods?" Isamu gazed over the fields. "I didn't waste energy judging the weather," he said simply. "Drought came, that's what happened. I worked with drought. Then rain came, that's what happened. I worked with rain. My neighbors spent energy calling it awful. I used mine responding to what was needed." "But wasn't the drought bad?" Soyen asked. "Bad for what?" Isamu replied. "Bad for my idea of how the season should go." "Yes. Bad in itself?" "No. Drought is just drought. It's weather. My opinions don't change it, they only make me suffer while dealing with it." "So you just accept everything?" "I accept what has already happened," Isamu said. "The drought happened. The floods happened. Fighting what has already happened leads nowhere. From acceptance, clarity appears. When I stopped judging the situation as terrible, I could see what needed to be done." The monk sat quietly, taking this in. "This is what Zen Buddhism teaches," Isamu continued. "Things exist as they are before we judge them. Drought, rain, heat, cold, these are simply conditions. We add labels like good and bad, and those labels create suffering. When I see conditions without judgment clouding my view, I can work with what's actually here." "But don't you have preferences?" the monk asked. "Wouldn't you rather have normal rain?" "Of course," Isamu smiled. "I'm not a stone. I have preferences. But preference isn't the same as judgment. I prefer gentle rain. But when drought comes, I don't waste energy insisting it should be raining. I work with drought. My opinions don't change reality." The monk nodded slowly. "So clear seeing means seeing what's present, without the layer of judgment about whether it should be here." "Yes," Isamu said. "And from that clarity, skillful action becomes possible." My neighbors were trapped in judging everything as terrible. Their judgments blocked their wisdom. This teaching, seeing without judgment, is central to Zen Buddhism. We spend huge energy judging life. This is good. That is bad. This should exist. That shouldn't. I like this. I dislike that. All this judging builds a barrier between us and direct experience. When you see without instantly judging, you meet life directly. You see what's here, not your opinions about it. From that clarity, wiser responses arise. Tonight, as you rest, notice how your mind judges comfortable, unpleasant, good thought, bad thought. Each is only a judgment, not reality. What if you could feel sensations without labeling them? Experience the moment without sorting it into good or bad. Just this breath, this feeling, this instant without commentary. When judgment stops, something loosens. You're no longer negotiating with reality. You're simply here. Plum blossoms are just blossoms before thought. A person is just a person before labels. A moment is just this moment before judgment. When you see this, even briefly, you touch something real, something that's always been here beneath thinking. This is what Zen Buddhism invites you to discover. Not a new way of thinking, but seeing before thought. Not better judgments, but the space before judgment. Not improved opinions, but direct contact with what's here. Let seeing be simple tonight. Let experience be direct. Allow this moment to be what it is, without ideas of how it should be. This clear seeing is itself a form of rest, a release from the endless work of judging, a return to simple presence. Zen Buddhism has a unique relationship with silence. Not silence as lack of sound, but a deeper stillness that can exist even within noise. We live in a world afraid of silence. We fill space with sound music, voices, screens. Even inside, the mind never stops. Thoughts, memories, plans, commentary. Yet Zen teaching points beneath all that noise to something quieter, always present, always available. A silence that is always here, like the open space where every sound appears. This silence isn't empty or lifeless. It's living, aware. It's the background that allows sound to exist. The way a canvas allows a painting. When you touch this silence, even briefly, something shifts inside. The constant pressure to think, to understand, to figure everything out, begins to soften. You realize you don't need to fill every moment with mental activity. You can simply be present, resting in awareness, without thoughts running non-stop through your mind. This doesn't mean thinking disappears entirely. Thoughts still arise when needed, but there is space between them. Quiet gaps, where silence becomes visible. And in these gaps, a different kind of knowing appears, not thinking-based knowing, but knowing through direct presence. In a mountain monastery lived a teacher named Mugaku, who spoke very little. His students would sometimes sit with him for days without hearing a single word. This wasn't due to a vow of silence. He simply didn't speak unless words were truly necessary. One spring, a scholar named Kazan came to visit. He had studied Zen Buddhism deeply. He had read ancient texts passed down from China, memorized teachings, quoted old masters, and explained their puzzling sayings with confidence and precision. He understood philosophical debates and doctrinal positions. He had studied under famous teachers and was widely considered an expert. He arrived on a bright morning, the mountain path still damp with dew, carrying books and pages of carefully prepared notes. For weeks he had refined his questions for Mugaku, sharpening them to be clear and penetrating. He wanted to discuss enlightenment, sudden versus gradual awakening, emptiness, and non-attachment. Mugaku welcomed him into the monastery's guest room. The room was simple, like everything there. Tatami mats lined the floor, clean and plain. A single calligraphy scroll hung in the alcove, showing one word. The air carried a faint scent of incense. The scholar bowed and sat across from Mugaku. He carefully arranged his robes and placed his books beside him, ready to quote if needed. Clearing his throat, he prepared to ask his first question. Rehearsed many times on the long walk up the mountain, before he could speak, Mugaku gently raised one hand. It was a small, unhurried gesture. Then the teacher closed his eyes and sat in complete stillness, back straight, face calm, breath slow and even. The scholar waited, assuming this was a brief pause before the discussion would begin. But Mugaku remained silent. Minutes passed. The scholar grew uneasy. Should he speak? Should he wait? He had traveled far and carried many carefully formed questions meant to show his deep understanding and insight. Yet the silence felt full, almost alive. Speaking into it felt like an intrusion. So he waited. Time stretched, 10 minutes, then 20. He noticed his own breathing, louder than the master's. The wind in the pines, a bird calling in the forest beyond. His prepared questions lost urgency. They began to feel heavy, like stones in his hands. All his knowledge of Zen Buddhism, the books he had studied and memorized, suddenly felt like a burden instead of a support. weighing him down rather than opening him up. His mind, once crowded with thoughts, questions, and analysis, began to slow. There was nothing to answer, no discussion to join, no ideas to wrestle with. Only the quiet room, wind outside, a distant crow, soft incense, and light shifting as the sun crossed the sky. An hour passed, then another. The scholar's early discomfort changed into something else, not comfort exactly, but ease. He was no longer waiting for anything, he was simply sitting, breathing, present. His body, once tight with expectation, began to loosen. His shoulders dropped, his jaw softened, his breath slowed, matching Mugaku's rhythm. Without effort, he sat more like the master, fully here, not grasping. The carefully prepared questions he carried began to fade, losing their weight and urgency, not because the questions were answered, but because they no longer mattered. He had tried to understand Zen Buddhism through intellect concepts, explanations, logic, but in this shared silence, something beyond thinking was quietly becoming clear. As afternoon light dimmed and shadows stretched across the tatami mats, something shifted within him. It wasn't a thought or insight he could explain, yet his questions dissolved. Not from answers, but because they no longer needed to exist. He had been searching through words for something words could not reach. The seeking itself had been the barrier. Mugaku opened his eyes. The scholar's face looked different, softer, younger, unburdened. His shoulders rested easily. He looked fully present, like someone who had set down a heavy load. "Thank you," the scholar said quietly. "I understand now." Mugaku smiled slightly. "What do you understand?" "That I searched for something in words that lives only in silence. I tried to grasp with thought what can only be met directly." Mugaku nodded. "Words point toward truth, but they cannot hold it. Truth is like water. You can describe water, but to know it, you must drink. To know silence, you must be silent." And the Festo, the scholar stayed several more days. Each day he sat in silence with Mugaku, and each day his understanding deepened, not by learning more, but by thinking less, not by adding knowledge, but by resting before knowledge arises. When he left, he said, "I came as a scholar of Zen Buddhism. I leave as a student of silence." "Good," Mugaku replied. "Books can teach about Zen. Only silence can teach Zen itself. This teaching on silence lies at the heart of Zen Buddhism. Words are useful, they point and suggest, but what they indicate must be experienced directly, beyond language. When the mind is full of words, direct experience stays just out of reach. You think about life instead of living it. You describe the moment instead of meeting it. In constant thinking, you miss what's here. Silence opens a gap. In that gap, direct experience appears. You're not thinking about breath, you're breathing. You're not thinking about sounds, you're hearing. You're not thinking about presence, you are present. Yet we fear silence. Identified with thinking, silence feels like disappearance. So we fill every moment with noise, activity, endless inner commentary. Zen Buddhism invites us to discover what remains when commentary falls silent. Not emptiness, but a vivid, aware presence. A silence that knows without thinking, an awareness that exists before thoughts arise and stays after they fade. There was a hermit named Sosan, who lived alone in a small hut high in the mountains. He had spent many years in monasteries studying and practicing. Over time, he felt drawn to solitude, to simplicity and quiet. His hut was barely big enough to lie down in. He owned only a few things: a pot, a blanket, a sitting cushion, nothing more. His days followed nature's rhythm. He rose with the sun, sat in meditation, gathered firewood, cooked simple meals, sat again, and slept when darkness came. He rarely spoke. Often days passed without a word aloud. In this silence, something deepened, not loneliness, but a profound sense of connection to all around him. He began to hear what he'd never truly heard before. Not new sounds, but sounds once missed. Wind through pine versus cedar. Different birds with different songs. Snow falling on winter nights, so quiet it felt less like sound and more like presence in the air. He noticed the silence beneath all sounds. A bird's call rising from silence, lingering briefly, then returning. His thoughts emerged from stillness, moved, and dissolved back into stillness. One spring, a young monk climbed the mountain path to Sosan's hut. His name was Doshin. At his monastery, monks spoke of Sosan, how he left everything to live alone, how he never spoke, how he found something in solitude they couldn't name. Doshin wanted to learn from him. He was weary of monastery noise, the talking, teaching, and endless discussion of Zen Buddhism. He longed to understand silence, to learn what Sosan had discovered. The climb was steep and hard. The path was barely visible, more a suggestion through trees. When he reached the hut, he was breathless, robes dusty, legs aching from the ascent. The hut sat in a small clearing. It was tiny, meant for one person. A grass-thatched roof, rough wooden walls. Nearby, a small garden showed where Sosan grew vegetables. A stream flowed close by, its sound constant. "Master Sosan," Doshin said, bowing deeply once he caught his breath. "I've come to learn about silence. Please teach me." Sosan looked at him kindly, face weathered by sun and wind, hands rough from work. He motioned for Doshin to sit on a smooth rock outside the hut. The monk sat, arranging his robes, waiting for instruction to begin. His questions were ready. What is silence? How do you practice it? What do you do with thoughts? He was eager to learn. But Sosan simply continued his tasks. He swept the ground with a broom of bound branches, the sound soft and rhythmic. He checked his water supply, a wooden bucket fed by a diverted stream. He arranged kindling for the evening fire, small sticks placed carefully. Doshin watched, confused. When would the teaching start? Surely this was only preparation for real instruction. He waited, trying to be patient. As afternoon passed, Doshin grew restless. The sun crossed the sky. Shadows shifted. Light softened, from midday brightness to late afternoon gold. Still, Sosan said nothing, moving calmly through his chores. Doshin's mind filled with questions and expectations. Should he ask again? Explain he wanted real teaching, not chores? Remind Sosan he'd climbed all this way? Yet something kept him silent. Perhaps it was the quality of Sosan's movement, unhurried, grounded, fully present, that held him there, watching without interruption. Each movement was complete in itself. Nothing hurried, nothing unnecessary. Perhaps it was the calm in the hermit's face, a stillness rising from somewhere deep within. Or perhaps it was the silence itself, unlike any Doshin had known. It felt solid, textured, present, almost like a quiet companion beside him. Evening arrived gradually. Light shifted from gold to amber, then to the first gray of dusk. Birds sang their evening calls. The air cooled, sharper and clearer. Sosan prepared a simple meal, rice cooked over a small fire, mountain vegetables gathered nearby, wild greens, mushrooms, early spring shoots. He made enough for two and shared it with Doshin in a plain bowl. They ate without speaking. Only the sounds of eating, wind in the trees, and the first crickets beginning their song. The food was simple, yet richer than monastery meals. Perhaps it was the mountain air, or the simplicity, or the silence holding everything. After eating, as the last light faded, Sosan sat on his cushion outside the hut. The evening was gentle enough for sitting outdoors. Doshin remained on his rock. They sat as darkness settled, stars appearing one by one, night sounds replacing day. The monk had never known silence like this. At the monastery there was always sound: footsteps, sliding doors, bells, chanting. Even during quiet meditation, coughs, rustling robes, restless bodies. And beyond all that, his own mind was never quiet. He was always thinking about practice, judging meditation, comparing himself to others, planning, replaying conversations, worrying about progress, seeking approval. The inner commentary never ended. But here, in mountain darkness beside a hermit who felt more mountain than man, silence revealed itself as something entirely different. It was not the absence of sound. The mountain was alive with sound. Wind through trees, water over stones, an owl calling, small creatures moving nearby. The sounds were rich and layered, yet beneath all of them, something else was present, a silence that held every sound, making them possible. A fullness, a quiet awareness that did not think, yet deeply knew. Everything that needed saying was said within this silence. Without words, hours passed. Doshin lost all sense of time. Time felt thin, almost unreal here. With nothing to engage, no dialogue, no questions, his thinking slowly settled. Like mud sinking in still water, movement ceased, and clarity appeared. Beneath thought, he found what Sosan had been pointing toward all along, a silence always present beneath his mental noise. Waiting. It wasn't something to create or achieve. It was already here. He had only been covering it with constant thought. As the first pale light of dawn appeared, as darkness softened, and birds began to sing, Sosan spoke for the first time since Doshin arrived. His voice was soft, scarcely louder than the wind. You came seeking teaching about silence, but silence cannot be taught with words. It can only be encountered directly. You have been sitting inside the teaching all night. The monk understood. I waited for you to explain silence, but you were showing silence itself. Yes. If I had spoken about silence, you would have created thoughts about silence, more noise. By remaining quiet, I let you discover what silence truly is. Not an idea, but a living reality. The monk stayed with Sosan for several days. They spoke little. They sat together. They worked side by side in silence. They shared simple meals. And within this quiet, the monk's mind settled in a way it never had before. When he prepared to return to the monastery below, he said, I thought silence meant being quiet, but it's really about listening. Yes, Sosan replied. When you stop filling every moment with your own noise, you can hear what's already here. The mountain has always been speaking. The wind has been teaching. You couldn't hear them through your thinking. What should I do when I return to the noisy monastery? Carry this silence with you. It doesn't depend on outer quiet. It's an inner stillness. You can be silent amid sound, still while moving. The silence we shared isn't in the mountain. It's in you. You only needed enough quiet to notice it. Zen Buddhism's teaching on silence isn't about external quiet, though that can help reveal it. It points to inner stillness, an awareness untouched by sound, movement, or activity. You can touch this silence in crowds, rest in it during action. It isn't outside you. It's the nature of awareness itself, the space where all experience appears. When you identify with thoughts, life feels noisy. Thinking never stops, even trying to be quiet. The mind chatters, but when you recognize yourself as the awareness that knows thoughts, you discover you're already silent. Thoughts pass. The knowing remains still. Most people have tasted this silence briefly, even without naming it. A moment watching a sunset with no commentary, just seeing, listening to music, and disappearing into sound. For a few seconds, no thoughts. These moments of silence are always available. We usually miss them because we're busy thinking. In a village near a forest lived a woman named Kay, known for her mastery of the tea ceremony. She studied for years, learning every precise movement, every traditional element, each tool, and its proper use. She trained with city masters, perfected forms, memorized sequences, understood meanings. But as she aged, her practice changed. It became less about elaborate form and more about something essential beneath it. Her ceremonies grew simpler, with fewer elements. She kept only what was necessary, releasing ornament and excess. Beyond physical simplicity, her ceremonies became quieter, less talking before, during, and after. Longer pauses, space between actions, as if silence itself were part of the ritual. Guests often left her tea ceremonies feeling changed, though unable to explain why. It wasn't only the tea, though it was good. Not the setting, though it was beautiful. It was the quality of presence, the depth of silence that touched something within them. One winter, a young woman named Yuri came to study with Kay. She had trained in the city, where tea ceremony was formal and elaborate. Many rules, many tools, many precise steps. She performed well, yet felt something missing. The ceremony felt like performance, more about skill than presence. She had heard of Kay's simple ceremonies, said to reach deeper than elaborate ones, so she traveled to the village to study. On a cold afternoon, snow falling softly, Kay invited Yuri to share tea. It was their first ceremony together. The tea room was small and spare, unlike any Yuri knew. The walls were plain, unpainted wood. The tatami mats were worn but clean. A single hanging scroll showed a black ink circle, nothing more. There were no flowers in the alcove, unusual for tea. Only the soft bubbling of water over charcoal, called wind in the pines. Kay moved with great care, but paused often, surprising Yuri. She folded the cloth, then sat in stillness for what felt like a full minute. She poured water, then paused again. The silence between movements seemed as important as the movements themselves. Yuri watched closely, trying to learn technique, trying to understand what she was meant to grasp. But there was no complex method to copy. Kay's movements were simple, even basic, nothing elaborate or showy. What made the ceremony powerful was something else entirely. It was the quality of presence Kay brought to each action, the silence she carried, the way she stayed fully with each moment, never rushing ahead. When the tea was prepared, it was careful, but unfussy. The temperature was right, the measure right, yet more than correctness, it felt complete, as if nothing else existed except the making of this tea. After Kay served it, and Yuri drank, following the forms she'd learned in the city, they sat together. The silence extended. It wasn't uncomfortable, but it was unfamiliar to Yuri. In the city, there was always conversation afterward, comments on the tea, the flowers, the scroll. Here, Kay simply sat, still and present. Yuri felt she should speak, praise the tea, or ask a question, but Kay's calm presence made words feel unnecessary. More than unnecessary, it felt as if speaking would break something fragile, like shouting in a quiet forest. So they sat a long while, listening to snow fall outside, not talking about tea or ceremony, just present with the settling charcoal, the snow on the roof, the fading afternoon light. After a silence that must have lasted half an hour, Kay finally spoke. Her voice was soft, nearly a whisper, matching the moment. In the city, tea ceremony often becomes performance, showing skill, proving mastery of form. But the heart of tea ceremony is meeting another person through tea. When we fill the ceremony with too much talking, explanation, and display, we miss the true meeting. But don't students need proper forms? Yuri asked softly, matching Kay's tone. Forms matter at first. They give structure, a container, but eventually they should become transparent. You stop thinking about them. They happen naturally, like breathing. You move, and the forms arise on their own, because they've become part of you. Then the real ceremony begins, the ceremony of presence, silence, and meeting the moment as it is. How do I learn this? Practice silence, Kay said. Not only outer quiet, though that helps early on, inner silence. Notice the mental commentary during the ceremony. Am I doing this right? Does my teacher approve? This is the folding of the cloth. Such thoughts pull you away and cover the silence beneath. Over the following weeks, Yuri stayed and practiced with Kay. She began noticing her inner commentary as never before. While making tea, her mind kept talking, judging, evaluating each move, recalling teacher's words, comparing herself, planning ahead, fearing mistakes, the real actions, the bowl's weight, the sound of pouring, the tea's aroma, the scoop's heft. She barely touched them. She was lost in thoughts about the process. Then thoughts about those thoughts, layers that separated her from direct experience. She began practicing with less thinking. When she folded the cloth, she simply folded it, feeling the silk, noticing its movement. When she poured water, she just poured, hearing the sound, watching steam rise, feeling warmth. When commentary began, she noticed it and returned to the direct doing. Something shifted. The ceremony became less performance and more presence, less about doing it right, more about being fully here. In that presence, silence arose naturally, not by force or effort, but because she was too present to be thinking about it. Thinking fell away on its own when there was nothing to think about, only direct action. "You're beginning to understand," Kay said after a morning ceremony. Snow had stopped. Pale light filled the room. Zen teaches the extraordinary hides in the ordinary. Missed when we only think about it. Silence lets us meet the moment directly, without thoughts in the way. "Is all Zen practice about this?" Yuri asked, partly learning silence. Silence reveals what's always here beneath thinking. In silence, you see each moment is complete. Making tea is just making tea. Nothing needs adding. It's already enough. This is what the ceremony teaches when practiced in silence, that this moment, this action, this breath is whole. This wisdom is available anytime. You don't need a mountain hut or elaborate forms to find it. You can touch silence here and now. Thoughts will come, that's natural, like waves on an ocean of silence. Let them rise and fall. Don't fight or follow them. Notice that beneath the waves, the ocean remains still. Zen teaches this silence is your true nature. Deeper than thought, more basic than the thinking mind, there is awareness that exists before thoughts appear and remains after they fade. This silence is always here, always available, waiting when you stop running and rest in what is. Allow yourself to settle into this silence now. Let the noise of thinking slowly soften. Let the stillness beneath it become clearer. This is the wisdom of silence, not something to achieve, but something to recognize. It is already here, already present, already holding you gently in its calm. Zen teaches a way of holding life, not with a tight fist, but with an open hand. Not gripping desperately, but touching lightly. The difference between clinging and caring, between possessing and appreciating. Most of us move through life with clenched hands around what we value: our relationships, belongings, plans, ideas, and even our sense of self. We hold as if never letting go will keep us safe. Yet this gripping creates suffering, because life is change. Everything flows. Nothing remains fixed. The moment you grasp something to keep it still, it is already shifting. Relationships evolve, possessions wear down, plans unravel, bodies age, people leave. Nothing you hold will stay exactly the same. This does not mean you should stop caring. Zen Buddhism does not teach coldness or indifference. It teaches a wiser form of care, one that allows change without adding suffering through attachment. Imagine holding a bird. If you grip too tightly, you harm it, perhaps even kill it. If you do not hold it at all, it flies away, and you never feel its presence. But if you hold it gently, with an open hand, it can rest there freely and leave when it must. This is how Zen invites us to hold life lightly, with appreciation rather than possession, with care rather than clinging. All things arise, remain briefly, then pass. Our grasping does not stop this. It only makes the passing more painful. There was a master named Soyen, who lived in a small mountain temple. The temple was simple, a few buildings around a quiet courtyard. Soyen was known for living simply and meeting change with calm. Students came to learn this quality of equanimity, how to meet, gain, and loss with the same steady presence. Soyen owned very little. His room held a mat, a few robes, some books. But among his few possessions was one item he cherished: a pale blue tea bowl. Its glaze patterned like drifting clouds. It had been a gift from his teacher 20 years earlier, and used daily ever since. The bowl fit perfectly in his hands. He knew every subtle texture, every small flaw. A chip on the rim from years before had become part of its story. Each morning he drank tea from it, feeling its weight, watching steam rise gently from its edge. One morning, after washing the bowl, Soyen placed it on an old shelf to dry. The wood, warped with age, shifted. The bowl rolled, tipped, and fell. The sound of breaking was sharp and final, echoing through the room. The bowl shattered into many pieces, its once smooth glaze now scattered across the tatami. A visiting student, a young monk named Daiki, heard the sound from the hallway and rushed in. Seeing the fragments, his face filled with distress. He knew what the bowl meant to Soyen. "Master, your tea bowl, the one from your teacher, the one you've used all these years," he said, shaken. "What a tragedy." But Soyen looked at the broken pieces calmly. No anger, no tension. He set down his cup and knelt quietly beside the fragments. He lifted a few shards, studying them with gentle care, turning them toward the light. "It was a good bowl," he said softly, warmth in his voice. "It served me well for many years." "Aren't you upset?" the young monk asked. "It came from your teacher." "I feel something, yes," Soyen replied. "A softness here, tenderness, gratitude for its long service, appreciation. But upset? No. The bowl was always going to break. All things do. This is their nature. But it was your favorite, you used it every day." "Yes. And because I used it daily, I appreciated it fully," he said. "I noticed its beauty, its feel, the taste of tea from it. I was present to it. Now it's broken. Shall I add suffering to the simple fact of breaking?" Daiki sat, puzzled. "But surely you wish it hadn't broken," the monk pressed. "Wishing for the impossible changes nothing," Soyen said. "It has already broken. Even if not today, someday it would next year. Or after I'm gone. All bowls break eventually. All things that arise also pass. This bowl was no exception." Soyen gathered the pieces carefully into a cloth, his movements respectful and calm. "I held this bowl lightly all the years I used it, knowing its nature, as with all things. So when it broke, I was ready," he continued. "Not because I expected it today, but because I understood. Bowls break. This isn't tragedy. It's the way of form to wear down and return to pieces." "So you didn't really care?" the monk asked. "I cared deeply," Soyen said, feeling clear in his voice. "I loved its beauty, its weight, how the glaze caught light at different hours. I cherished memories of my teacher and countless mornings, but I did not cling. I didn't need it to last forever to be valuable. Its impermanence enhanced my appreciation." He held up a larger shard, turning it in the morning light. Blue and white clouds swirled in the glaze, like the mountain sky. "See how beautiful this still is," he said. "The beauty was never in staying perfect forever. It was in each moment of its existence. I experienced that fully. I didn't postpone appreciation for some later time. I didn't take it for granted. I was present each day. Now it's broken. But the appreciation was real that happened. Nothing can break that." Daiki watched as Soyen wrapped the pieces. "So we should expect everything to end?" "Not expect disaster," Soyen replied. "But understand clearly. What arises passes. Cups break. Flowers wilt. Relationships change. Bodies age. Seasons turn. This isn't pessimism. It's seeing reality as it is, without clinging." "Doesn't that make life sad?" the monk asked. "The opposite." Soyen smiled gently. "It makes life precious. If this bowl lasted forever, would I have noticed it so carefully? Impermanence invites attention and presence. We don't take things for granted. The flower is beautiful because it fades. The sunset matters because it passes. Snow is magical because it melts. Life is meaningful because it's brief." He swept the last fragments into the cloth and stood. "This is what Zen Buddhism calls holding life lightly. Not caring less, but clinging less. Not loving less, but grasping less. Fully appreciating what is here, then releasing gently when the moment passes." The bowl served its role, bringing beauty and usefulness for many years. Now, it is broken. I'm thankful for what it offered. and I let it go without adding suffering to simple change. He paused, gazing at the wrapped cloth in his hands. Tomorrow, I'll use a different bowl. I'll value that one too, for as long as it lasts. And when it breaks, as it surely will, I'll appreciate our time together and move on. This is how we can live fully present with what is here, without clinging to keep it forever. This teaching of non-attachment flows through Zen Buddhism like water through stone. We create immense suffering through grasping. We want things to stay the same. We want people unchanged. We want our plans to unfold exactly as imagined. We want our lives to follow a fixed path. And when life moves differently, when change arrives as it always does, we suffer not only from the change itself, but from resisting it. We add extra layers of pain onto the natural difficulty of loss or transition. Each thought becomes a way of clinging to what was, or what we wanted. This clinging never stops change. It only increases our suffering while change happens anyway. In a coastal village lived a merchant named Ichiro, who earned his living trading goods between communities. He bought rice from inland farming valleys and sold it in fishing villages along the coast. He bought fish and seaweed from seaside towns and sold them to farming villages far from the ocean. He traveled constantly, his cart full, following routes built through years of patient effort. He lived comfortably, not rich, but secure. Customers trusted him and waited for his arrival each month. He knew the best mountain paths, the safest river crossings, the quickest routes between villages. He understood prices, timing, and how to preserve goods in transit. His business was steady and reliable. Through careful attention and honest dealing, he had built a good, stable life. He had a wife and 3 children. They lived in a sturdy house with a solid roof. There was always enough food. The children attended school. It wasn't a life of luxury, but it was a good life, shaped by steady work and long-nurtured relationships. Then one autumn, everything changed. A massive storm rose from the sea. Elders said they had never seen its like. Winds ripped roofs away and uprooted trees. Rain fell so fiercely that rivers overflowed, carving new paths across dry land. Worst of all came the storm surge. The ocean pushed inland far beyond what anyone thought possible. Seawater flooded the low farming valleys where Ichiro's suppliers lived. Salt ruined crops and poisoned wells. Fields that had grown rice for generations were destroyed. The villages that had sold rice to Ichiro for years were devastated. Their autumn harvest, meant for sale, was lost. Fields were unusable. Storage buildings were damaged or gone. There was nothing to sell. Worse, people needed help just to survive. Fishing villages suffered. 2 boats smashed or sunk, gear lost, homes near the shore destroyed or damaged beyond use. Docks required rebuilding. The familiar patterns of trade and daily life that Ichiro relied on were shattered. For days after the storm, he focused only on emergency help, searching for survivors, clearing debris, carrying clean water. But when the crisis eased, the scale of change became clear. One morning, he stood beside his cart, staring at his carefully arranged goods, rice no one could buy, tools for farms that no longer existed. His livelihood depended on roots and relationships that once felt stable. Without them, how would he provide for his family? He carried heavy responsibilities. Years of patient work were collapsing at once. Despair rose in his chest, thick and breath-stealing. He sank onto the cart step, head in his hands. His wife found him there. "What will we do?" she asked, worry thinning her voice. "I don't know," he said. "Everything I built is gone. We still have the cart. We still have each other. But the business, my roots, my suppliers, everything I worked for." She sat beside him. "Go speak with Master Hakuin. He may help you see clearly." So Ichiro went to the monk Hakuin, who lived at a small temple by the village edge. The temple had been damaged by the storm, and Hakuin was repairing the roof. He climbed down when Ichiro arrived. "Master Hakuin," Ichiro said, slumping on the steps. "The storm destroyed everything. Farmers have no rice. Fishermen have no boats. My roots are gone. My business is finished. I've lost everything I built. Hakuin sat beside him, lifted his cup, and took a slow sip. Your cart is still there, he said calmly. I can see it from here. You still have your health. Your family is safe. I spoke with your wife. The roads remain, even if they need repair. What have you truly lost? My business, my way of living, the structure of my life, Ichiro said, frustration rising. Ah, Hakuin replied, setting the cup down. You've lost a particular arrangement. Yes, the pattern your life followed. But have you lost your ability to adapt? Your knowledge of trade? Your sense of what people need? Your relationships and trust? Or have you lost only your attachment to things staying exactly as they were? Anger flared hot in Ichiro's chest. You don't understand. This is survival. How will I feed my family? Pay for schooling? This isn't philosophy, it's real. I'm not denying that, Hakuin said gently. The practical matters matter. I'm asking whether your suffering comes from the facts or from insisting they be different. The storm happened. The damage is done. These are facts. Can you work with what is? Or will you spend your energy grieving what was and wishing otherwise? I built this for years, Ichiro said. I had it arranged perfectly, and now it's destroyed. And that arrangement was always temporary, Hakuin said. You simply didn't see it. Houses stand until they fall. Businesses thrive until they don't. Health lasts until it fails. Stability remains until it changes. This is the nature of conditioned things, things that depend on circumstances. You didn't lose something eternal, only something that was bound to change. The storm made it sudden rather than gradual. Ichiro sat quietly, watching Hakuin sweep. The anger remained, but something else began to stir beneath it, a recognition that the monk pointed to something true. So, what should I do? Stop clinging to how it was, and look at what's here now. Farmers need rebuilding help. Fishermen need boats. Both need goods they can't produce. You have a cart, trade knowledge, and relationships beyond the storm. Eyes, can you see what's needed now, instead of mourning what was needed before? Over the next days, Ichiro's view slowly shifted. Rather than staring at lost trade routes, he focused on real needs. Farming villages needed salt-tolerant seeds to replant fields. They needed tools to clear debris. The fishing villages needed materials to rebuild boats. They needed supplies just to survive the recovery. Ichiro used his cart and his knowledge to deliver what was required. It wasn't the same business as before. Profits were smaller. The labor was heavier. But it was possible work, and it mattered. As communities slowly healed, new trade patterns emerged. Different from before, yet alive and workable. When Ichiro visited Hakuin months later, his face had changed less tight, more open. You were right, he said. I was clinging to the past and grieving what I lost. Now I understand holding lightly. I still care about my work and my family, but I don't cling to one arrangement. I know everything can change, and when it does, I can work with it instead of resisting. This is what Zen Buddhism teaches. Hakuin said, hold everything lightly, appreciate fully, but don't grasp, care deeply, but don't cling. Then, when change comes, as it always does, you can flow with it instead of breaking. This principle applies to all of life: possessions, work, relationships, ideas, identities, plans. Everything we believe is solid is actually fluid. Everything we think permanent is passing through. When we can accept this without despair, when we appreciate impermanence without trying to freeze it, a different peace appears. Not control, but harmony with what is. There was a gardener named Sato who tended the grounds of a large estate owned by a wealthy family. He had worked there since youth, learning the craft. Now middle-aged, he had shaped gardens of plants and stone, each section revealing different qualities through the seasons. The estate was vast. Formal gardens stood near the house, with pruned pines and placed stones. Vegetable plots fed the household. Paths wound through bamboo groves and beneath maple trees. Sato knew every plant, every stone, every hidden corner of the land, but he was most proud of one area. A wildflower meadow he had nurtured for years. It lay on a gentle southern slope, visible from the house yet distant enough to feel untamed. He had transformed rough grass and weeds into something living and alive. He spent years building it, gathering seeds from mountain slopes on rare days off. He chose varieties to bloom in sequence from spring through autumn. Early spring brought tiny white blossoms, then yellow buttercups, blue lupins, summer poppies, and purple asters. Late summer revealed goldenrod and black-eyed Susans. The meadow became a moving poem of color and texture, unfolding month by month. It demanded patience. Wildflower meadows cannot be rushed. In the first year, almost nothing grew at all. In the second year, a few small areas began to show life. By the third year, it truly resembled a meadow. By the fifth year, it was magnificent. Each year after, it grew more stable, diverse, and balanced. Visitors often paused at its edge in summer, absorbing the colors and gentle movement of countless blooms. Butterflies and bees moved through it endlessly. Birds nested among the tall grasses. It felt alive in a way formal gardens never could. Sato walked through it often, not to fix or change it, but to observe what bloomed, what insects arrived, how the living system evolved. It felt less like something he made and more like something he had allowed to unfold. One spring morning, the estate owner summoned Sato to the main house. This was unusual, as instructions usually came through the manager. "The meadow you created is beautiful," the owner said. "I've enjoyed watching it mature over the years. You've done excellent work." Sato bowed, grateful for the acknowledgement. Then the owner continued, "I've decided to build a pond there. A large pond, with an island and a bridge. Construction begins next month. You'll need to clear the meadow for excavation." Sato felt his chest tighten. He bowed again, keeping his expression calm and respectful. "Yes, sir, I understand," the owner added. "I know how much effort you put into the meadow. I appreciate it. But I believe the pond will be even more beautiful. You'll design the planting afterward." Sato bowed once more and left, walking back toward the meadow, his thoughts restless. Years of work, his finest creation, all the careful choices, patience, and quiet watching gone, replaced by water and stone. Anger rose in him. The owner didn't understand the balance he had achieved, the care woven into every plant, the living harmony now threatened. Grief followed the anger. The meadow would be destroyed, dug up, turned into empty earth. Beneath it all lay resentment. His work felt dismissed, years erased by a new vision. A pond, as if it could simply replace what had taken so long to grow. He reached the meadow and stood silently at its edge. Early spring flowers were just beginning to open. In weeks, the slope would be radiant with color, and then it would be torn apart. As his thoughts spiraled, a bee landed near his foot on a small blue flower, one of the season's earliest blooms. He watched the bee move from flower to flower, legs heavy with pollen. It flew on, unaware the meadow would soon vanish, unaware the soil would be overturned. It was simply present, this flower, this moment, this morning. Nothing else existed for it. As Sato watched, something shifted. The bee carried no grief for the future, no attachment to the past, just full presence now. He realized he could spend the next month mourning what would be lost, exhausting himself before a single shovel touched the ground. Or he could choose appreciation while the meadow still lived. Every bloom, every insect, every breeze through the grass, each walk at dawn, each quiet evening visit. He chose appreciation. Each day, he walked the meadow with complete attention, noticing everything without holding back. The bright yellow of early buttercups, like small suns. The grasses bending together like water in wind. The constant hum of insects in warm afternoons. The rich scent of earth and growth. The feeling of moving through something wild and beautiful that he had helped bring into being. He didn't dwell on the coming destruction, When thoughts of the pond appeared, he noticed them and returned to what was here now, the meadow as it was in this moment, not as it would be or wouldn't be. Flowers moved through their cycle. Early blues and whites gave way to yellow and purple. Each phase was complete in itself, perfect for its time. Sato was present to all of it, more present than he had been in years. The approaching loss strangely made him more attentive, more grateful for what existed while it lasted. When the workers arrived to clear the land, Sato was there. He helped carefully, saving seeds from his favorite plants. He gathered them in cloth bags, labeled and stored them with care. He knew he could plant them elsewhere, perhaps a smaller meadow near the vegetable plots. This meadow was ending, but what he'd learned could live on in new forms. As the pond took shape over the following months, Sato found himself curious, despite his early resistance. What plants would suit the edges? How would water reflect sky and trees? What new possibilities appeared? He noticed he was holding his work more lightly now than he ever had before. He still cared deeply and brought full attention to every detail. But he wasn't clinging to any single design. Gardens change, that is their nature. Plants grow and die. Plans evolve. Preferences shift. Nothing remains fixed. This lightness didn't make him care less about his work. If anything, it made him more present. He wasn't spending energy trying to freeze one beautiful moment forever. He could appreciate each stage of the garden's life. Every season was complete in itself. Every garden was perfect for its time, even knowing it would pass. This is what Zen Buddhism means by non-attachment. Not caring less or becoming distant, but caring without clinging. Appreciating without possessing. Enjoying fully while things are here, and releasing them gracefully when they go. The master's broken bowl, the merchant's changed trade, the gardener's cleared meadow. In each story, clinging would have added suffering to loss. Holding lightly allowed them to meet change with grace, to value what was without demanding it last, to move with life rather than fight it. When you loosen your grip, something else loosens too. The tension of trying to keep everything the same eases. Fear of loss softens because you're no longer resisting change. You allow it. Flow with it. Meet each moment as it comes. Hold this moment lightly now, it's already passing. That doesn't make it less precious. It makes it more so temporary, fleeting, and therefore infinitely valuable. There is something in you that existed before your first thought, before your name, before any idea of who you are. Zen calls this your original nature, the unborn mind, the awareness always present. Most of us forget this original nature. We identify with thoughts, memories, and self-stories. I am my thoughts, I am my past. But Zen points deeper to what was here before all of that began. Think of a mirror. A mirror reflects whatever appears before it faces. Objects, passing scenes, images, arrive and disappear. Yet the mirror itself never changes. It doesn't become what it reflects. It doesn't cling to images after they're gone. It simply reflects clearly and fully, without judgment or preference. Your original awareness is like this mirror. Thoughts appear within it. Emotions arise within it. Experiences unfold within it. But awareness itself is untouched by what appears. It doesn't become the thought or the feeling. It simply knows them, just as a mirror simply reflects. This awareness is what you truly are beneath every layer of identity, memory, and story. It has been here your entire life, watching everything unfold. It was present before language. It's here now reading these words. It doesn't age, change, or need fixing. It is complete, as it is. When you recognize this awareness, even briefly, something essential shifts. You see, you are not your thoughts, you are what knows them. You are not your emotions, you are the space where they arise and pass. You are not your life story, you are the awareness witnessing that story. This recognition brings freedom. If you are not your thoughts, you don't have to believe every thought. If you are not your emotions, you don't have to be ruled by every feeling. If you are not your past story, you don't have to live by an old script. You can rest in awareness itself, fresh, present, and free. In a village near a river, lived a teacher named Shun, known for guiding students directly to their original nature. She didn't rely on complex explanations or long talks. She had a simple way of pointing people toward what was already obvious, if they would only look. Her room was modest, a single space in a small house near the temple. She lived simply with few possessions. Yet people traveled from nearby villages to see her. One day, a mother arrived with her young daughter, perhaps 5 years old, with bright eyes and an open, curious face. The girl walked with the natural presence children have before thought fully takes over, still living close to immediate experience. The mother hoped the teacher would offer her daughter a blessing, as was customary. Shun welcomed them with a gentle bow, and the child looked around with interest. She noticed the smooth tatami mats worn by years of use, the small alcove with a hanging scroll showing a simple black circle, and the window opening to a garden where bamboo moved softly in the morning breeze. "Come here, little one," Shun said, inviting her to sit nearby. The girl came without hesitation and sat beside the teacher, her attention complete. There was no self-consciousness, no concern about doing things correctly, only presence. Shun picked up a small hand mirror beside her cushion, old and simple, its wooden back darkened with age. The glass was clear despite its years. Holding it gently, she asked, "Do you know what this is?" "A mirror," the girl answered immediately. "Good," Shun said. "And what does a mirror do?" The girl paused, her face thoughtful and serious as she considered the question. "It shows you your face." "That's right," Shun said gently. She raised the mirror so the girl could see herself clearly. "Look, there you are." The girl smiled at her reflection, made a silly face, watched it appear, and laughed at herself. "You see yourself," Shun said. "Now watch closely." She slowly tilted the mirror, so it no longer reflected the girl, but instead showed the window and the garden beyond, bamboo moving softly. "Now it shows the garden." "Where did your face go?" The girl looked, then touched her cheeks. "It went away," she said, a little confused. "Did it go away?" Shun asked, "or did the mirror simply stop showing it? Is your face gone?" The girl giggled. "No, my face is still here. The mirror just isn't showing it." "Exactly," Shun said with a smile, tilting the mirror back so the girl's face appeared again. "My face came back," the girl said happily. "The mirror shows it again," Shun replied. "But notice the mirror itself hasn't changed at all." It showed your face, then the garden, now your face again. Yet it remains just a mirror, clear and still. It doesn't become what it reflects. It doesn't keep the images. It simply reflects whatever is placed before it." She set the mirror down and looked at the girl with calm, attentive eyes. "You are like this mirror. Everything you see, feel, or think appears in you like reflections. They come and go. Happiness appears, then sadness may appear. You hear my voice, and sound appears. But you, the one aware of all this, do not change. Just as the mirror remains whether it reflects a face, a garden, or nothing at all, you are always here, watching and knowing." The girl grew quiet, her face showing recognition, as if something simple and forgotten had been gently remembered. She looked from the mirror to her mother, then back to Shun. "Before you knew words," Shun continued softly, "before you learned your name, before you knew you were a girl, or that this was your mother, you were already aware. You looked. You listened. You were here long before you knew any labels. That awareness hasn't changed. It's the same now as it was then, and it will be the same when you're old like me. It doesn't grow or age. It simply remains clear and present like this mirror." The mother felt something quietly shift as she listened. She had come seeking a simple blessing for her child, perhaps words of protection. Instead, Shun was offering something deeper, something the mother herself needed. "Is this what Zen Buddhism teaches?" the mother asked softly. "That we are awareness, not what we experience?" "Yes," Shun said, turning gently toward the mother while keeping the girl close. "Most people believe they are their thoughts, feelings, situations, and histories. They suffer because they identify with what passes through awareness, thinking, "I am angry," when anger is only appearing in awareness. They believe, "I am this story," when in truth, there is only a story being observed by awareness. They think, "I am this limited person," yet they are the boundless awareness in which the person appears. She lifted the mirror between them. When you know yourself as awareness, suffering naturally softens, not because you fix yourself or solve every problem, but because you see you are not harmed by what moves through you. A mirror isn't damaged by reflecting sadness. It reflects clearly without becoming sad. How do you practice this seeing? By noticing, again and again, that you are the one who is aware. You see this, hear that, think a thought, feel a feeling, but who is the one aware of all this? Not your name, not your story, not your self-image. The awareness itself, that is your original nature. What you were before becoming this person with this name and history. And it's what you still are right now, beneath all the accumulated layers. The girl spoke up. Like the mirror stays a mirror, even when it shows different things. Exactly. Eshun smiled. You understand perfectly. After they left, Eshun sat quietly, gazing at the mirror in her hand. She reflected on how children often grasp these truths more easily than adults. They haven't fully fused with their thoughts and stories. They remain close to original nature, living partly from simple awareness. Adults must find their way back to what children still partly inhabit. Back to the unborn mind, the mind before birth and beyond death. Awareness that isn't created and can't be destroyed. This teaching of original nature sits at the heart of Zen Buddhism. Everything else flows from this recognition. When you know yourself as awareness, everything shifts. Not because you become someone new, but because you recognize what you've always been. Thoughts grow lighter, just thoughts passing through. Emotions lose their grip, weather crossing the sky of awareness. Your life story loosens, seen as a story, not the final truth of who you are. As our journey through Zen wisdom gently closes, you've traveled far tonight, not in distance, but in understanding. You've touched something simple and profound that's been waiting beneath daily thought. These teachings aren't new ideas to collect or techniques to master. They're reminders of what you already know, invitations to notice what's always been here. You don't need to hold on to anything you heard. No need to remember details or apply lessons. Like rain meeting soil. These words will settle where they belong. Some root quickly, others wait for their season. Trust that what's meant for you will arrive without effort. Let today's concerns rest. Tomorrow's plans can wait until tomorrow. Right now, nothing needs your attention. Nothing requires solving or understanding. You can simply be here, breathing, alive, held by this moment as it is. Let your breath slow, feel yourself sink into support. Notice how your body already knows how to rest. When you stop trying to control anything, your breath settles into its own natural rhythm. Muscles soften and release. The mind grows quiet, like sediment sinking in water. As the movement fades, you can let go of being anyone at all. No image to hold, no identity to maintain, no roles to carry. During these hours of rest, you can simply remain as awareness itself. The stillness that contains all motion, the silence that allows every sound. Zen Buddhism shows that peace is not something to build or earn. It is what remains when you stop interfering with what already is. When constant effort fades. When endless thinking grows quiet. When grasping loosens its hold. Peace reveals itself. It has always been here, waiting patiently. Your breath moves on its own. Your heart beats without instruction. Your body knows how to repair and restore itself as you sleep. All the processes that sustain your life continue without direction from thought. You can trust this wisdom older than ideas, deeper than planning, steadier than control. Allow yourself to release fully now. Let remaining tension drain from the body. Let lingering thoughts dissolve from the mind. Release the urge to understand, to accomplish, to become anything at all. Release even the effort to release. Let everything settle naturally, like a bird easing into its nest at night. The peace you touched tonight was never created by effort. It was revealed when effort fell away. This peace is always present, always available, always ready to receive you when you stop running and rest. May your sleep be deep and renewing. May you rest knowing you are exactly where you need to be, as you are. May you release all burdens and recognize release as wisdom. May you wake refreshed, carrying a gentle trace of what you touched here. A quiet knowing that peace is never distant. Zen wisdom is not complex. It is the simplest truth. This breath, this moment, this presence. Nothing to add, nothing to remove, everything already whole. Exactly as it is. Sleep well. And thank you for resting with us here at Sleepy Monk.